Hi guys, so that's the end of the first week of the new season of Mamemeister's High Score Kerfuffle. The games this season are coming from a random selection of a big list submitted to me by our regular participants. Last week was a submission from Ian, and we were playing Aliens, which was released by Konami in 1990. Konami were releasing quite a lot of cool games around that time, many of which were beat-em-ups, and although this is more of a run and gun and not a true beat-em-up, it has the majority of sections in the isometric beat-em-up style. One nice thing about this game is the way it mixes up different styles of game. There are the isometric beat-em-up style sections I mentioned, third-person rail shooter sections, as well as 2D run and gun sections. Prior to this week, I'd not even heard of this game, let alone played it, but I've really grown to like it. It's well implemented, as you'd expect from a Konami game, looks good, and has quite a bit of variety. And although it's difficult, you feel like each of the sections is achievable with a bit of practice and remembering what to do. Many of the sections, the first time I played them, I died quickly, but once I worked out what to do, for at least the early stages, up to the third boss or so, I could get through with barely losing any health. That's a sign of a well-designed and well-balanced game, I'd say. The game does feature multiple power-ups, but you soon realise that the flamethrower is often the best of the bunch, and suitable for pretty much every section of the game. There's also actual beat-em-up sections, where you get to control the big exosuit, but unfortunately, this doesn't actually bring much benefit. The first section this appears is actually easier if you have the flamethrower. So with the first week complete, let's see how everyone did. We had 19 players this week, which is a good showing and similar to the latter part of last season. 3 of those are new players, including Big Juffer, who has finished 5th and documented his efforts on YouTube, but also Lamer's Revenge Gaming and the Real Retro Beard, who both played but chose not to submit a score given what had already been submitted. I've said it before, although we only have 15 to 20 people playing, the standard is very high, and we'll see that with this week's winning score. In 10th, we've got Mr. Cosine, who is the best of the rest, as there are 2 major groups in the scores, as I'll demonstrate next. After that, we have Paulie Moz in 9th, who is sort of unlucky to finish so far down, given he's done pretty well to get that far. Then there's Mark Blaster and myself, Panther UK in 6th, who did well given the hardware issues he's had this week. Our new submitter Big Juffer is in 5th, and then after that is our battle for second place. 10 Shearers, Wee Bob and Ian have all finished very close on points, and have each led at different stages. Wee Bob particularly updated much of his progress on the Discord, and at least one of his runs is on YouTube. Ian has also streamed some of his efforts on Twitch. But normal services resume with our winner this week, the only player to loop the game on a single credit which provides a 200,000 point bonus, and scoring a huge 470,000, once again is Andrew Lowe. Competition was pretty fierce this week, so this is a well-earned win. Once again, I will double the probability of one of Andrew's games coming up this week. As something new for this season, I thought I'd take a look at some of the stats of the scores that we'd received. With this, I'm looking at the distribution. I wanted to see whether it's normally distributed, as you might expect from a random sample, or whether it's skewed. So what I've got here is a histogram of various bins of ranges of the scores. These are on the log scale, which would be correct treatment of the data, and scores increase left to right. You can then see how many people fall into each bin. Here, you can clearly see there's 3 groups of players. Those who put in a token score, then those who have played a bit but not got too far, and then those on the right, they're actually quite tightly grouped, with not much between them. However, with his own bin and separating himself from the pack is Andrew, all the way out to the right. Over the coming games, we'll see what these distributions look like and whether there are any more stand-up performances like Andrew's this week. So I've got all the games loaded in again, and Andrew's games appear twice. So let's set the selector going. There it goes. And I'll tap again, and we'll see what we get. Okay, so we've got a game from me, and it's Shinobi from Sega. So hopefully that's familiar to many of you. Great arcade sort of action game. I'll go generate a video, and we'll see what it's like. So this week's game is Shinobi from Sega, released in 1987. This game was also chosen by Paulie Moz, so he should be happy too. Despite being a Sega fan, I've not actually played it, but I've spent quite a bit of time with the Mega Drive games. This game was released on the Sega System 16 board, which was actually the basis for the Sega Mega Drive, so ports to that system were always going to work, although this game only came out on the Master System, not the Mega Drive, presumably due to timing. Curiously, this game saw a release on Nintendo's NES. This was before that rivalry really built up. You'd never imagine a cross-platform release from Nintendo or Sega in the 16-bit era. In Shinobi, you play as Joe Musashi, a modern day ninja who needs to stop a terrorist organisation who have captured some of his students. This game is classic 2D action, where you have jump and attack buttons, can move between lower and upper levels like in Rolling Thunder, but in Sega style have a magic ninjutsu attack that clears the screen or heavily damages the boss. I'm not particularly good at these sorts of games, but here's a great chance to improve. I hope you enjoy playing some Shinobi, and I'll be back next week. See you then.